In addition to the ringing of the chimes, another sign that we're entering into our service of worship is lighting the chalice. So will you join me with the chalice lighting words which are found in your order of service?
We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Let these words by Reverend Mark Morrison Reed guide us as we rest ourselves in a time of meditation, contemplation, and prayer. The central task of the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all. There is a connection, a relationship discovered amid the particulars of our own lives and the lives of others. Once felt, it inspires us to act for justice. It is the church that assures us that we are not struggling for justice on our own, but as members of a larger community. The religious community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen, and our strength too limited to do all that must be done. Together, our vision widens and our strength is renewed. May we feel the power of religious community to ever widen our vision, to ever renew our strength, nurturing together our spirits so we may meet the needs of a hurting world. Let us now share the silence. I remember vividly a moment when my son was a little boy, only about 4 or 5 years old. He sat at the kitchen table snacking on an after-school apple. As he munched, he watched intently Bill Nye the Science Guy. You know that guy? Bill Nye was talking about melanin, the compound in the skin that gives us our various colorations. Bill was explaining that we all have melanin on our skin, but the amount of it is what makes us lighter or darker than each other. My son studied and munched, and then he spoke in a way that was typical for him. He said, "Oh, I get it. We're all African American." Now, I was surprised and also deeply moved. My little boy was making a connection across the differing pigments of our skin, all of us on a human color spectrum. And his reference point was the majority group that he experienced on a daily basis, not a white group. We lived in a racially mixed neighborhood, and he attended a public school that was majority people of color, mostly African American. As a white minority, he had an unusual, as a white minority, that's what I said, he had an unusual perspective. And I got a glimpse of his perspective that day, a little insight into the way his mind worked, how his reasoning ability was helping him to make sense of his world. Children can be so open that way, sharing their logic and providing vision that we adults can be blind to because we are so deeply ingrained in our knowledge and in the patterns of social conditioning. And of course, he was also wrong. He and I are not African American. That name belongs to a people alike not simply because of the color of their skin, A linkage is a shared history of oppression and resilience experienced by people descended from enslaved captives, forced to give up their labor and their freedom to the economic and ideological desires of a dominant white society. There's no way around that truth. Now, to my son, I didn't want him to alienate himself from his friends or to offend them, and so I praised his thinking and told him it was a good notion for us to talk about at home. I'm not sure if he talked about it elsewhere. So, melanin in our skin, accurate, true science, and a child's innate ability to reason. These are some of the sources of healing and solace I draw on when I feel weakened by the wounds of my life. Wounds of my mistakes, wounds I carry because of the world I live in, wounds from which I need healing. We all know we are wounded. We all feel our own suffering. We strive to feel the suffering of others in empathetic and compassionate ways. And we are never far from the conflicts, the pain of the social world and how it has shaped us. And oh, how we need healing from that. Here we sit in this space made holy by our presence and by our love for each other. Think, though, on this land we are sitting right above. Think of the people who have lived their lives here, people made visible to us once more by the efforts of Canandaigua, just down the road. Think of the gifts the Haudenosaunee, the Iroquois Confederacy, bestowed upon the colonials working their way to a new form of government. Think of the gifts the matriarchal Seneca people bestowed upon the women's rights advocates of Seneca Falls. Think of the fields planted, the longhouses built, the children born, and the many wars that crisscross this land, ultimately devastating and dishonoring the Haudenosaunee and Seneca ways of life. Here, where we are sitting right now in a space made holy by our community, we are in the midst of violence played out in the shadows and the fields. Migrant farm workers from Central America and Mexico cannot freely travel to work in this region growing seasons and then return home in the fallow times. They can't easily access medical care, justice if not properly paid for their work, education for their children. All struggle, and we sit in this midst. Here we are sitting, opening ourselves to the woundedness of life, and that is hard, hard work, even as the healing comes in the sharing and the reflecting. How do we gain spiritual strength to meet the needs of our healing, of our hurting world? How are we healed enough? One way to be healed is to remain open to the sources within us and around us, open to the explanations of science and to the reason inherent in children, inherent in all of us. We draw strength from the materials in our very hands, our two hymnals. These, gifted to us by our religious heritage, full of wisdom and help at any time. Through these books, sages and mystics of all varieties, theists and non-theists, speak to the mystery of our experience. Or we can explain the evolutionary emergence of human beings and all living things. And we've either given or received the birds and the bees talk. Science teaches us these things. Science provides answers to how questions. The why questions, though, they remain shrouded in mystery, there for us to ponder and answer as each of us can. In the spirit of honoring this mystery and our drive to make meaning of our existence, let's sing together from the Teal Hymnal, number 1003. Now you're welcome to remain seated. And we're going to sing more this hour. We're going to sing each line through twice, and then we're going to repeat the third line to conclude. It's 10:03. So in this mystery, how shall we live? How shall we be healed? From what sources do we draw strength? How do we explain the mystery of our being and our living? For some of us, the inherent, the inborn morality of humans and of the universe provides comfort and surety in times of chaos and confusion. From the Confucian doctrine of the mean come these words, recorded as number 605. Hear now. Oh, how great is the divine moral law of humanity, vast and illimitable. It gives birth and life to all created things. It towers high up to the very heavens. How wonderful and great it is. All the institutions of human society and civilization, laws, customs, usage, have their origin there. Let these words be a healing balm for whom inherent morality is a source of strength and solace. For some of us, the earth, the natural world, is a source of healing and renewal. The mother of us all, the mother who gave rise to us, the mother who needs our loving care and protection from pollution, from fracking, from global warming. In the spirit of joining with our Mother Earth, let us sing 1069, also in the Teal hymnal. Let's sing it twice. Let this be a healing balm for whom communion in love and justice with Mother Earth is a source of strength and solace. For some of us, worship of a divine being, a supernatural God worthy of ultimate regard, is a source of healing and renewal. Persian poet Sadi reminds us that worship comes in the form of service and mutual concern. Recorded as number 609, here are his words. To worship God is nothing other than to serve the people. It does not need rosaries, prayer carpets, or robes. All people are members of the same body, created from the same essence. If fate brings suffering to one member, the others cannot stay at rest. Let this be a healing balm for whom service to others as a sign of worship of God is a source of strength and solace. For some of us, meditation is a source of healing and renewal, grounding and rebalancing the spirit in trying times, providing insight to that which is hidden by conflict and pain. Recorded as number 595, hear these words from the Bodhisattva vows. May all sentient beings be well and enjoy the root of happiness, free from suffering and the root of suffering. May they not be separated from the joy beyond sorrow. May they dwell in spacious equanimity, free from craving, fear, and ignorance. Let this be a healing balm for whom detachment and impermanence is a source of strength and solace. For some of us, the feeling of a divine spark in us all is a source of healing and renewal. Some of us envision a piece of the Holy Spirit that calls to us from within and comforts and soothes us in times of stress and despair. Have you heard this inner voice? Have you listened? Have you attended to its call? May we seek and honor the Spirit by singing together from the Gray Hymnal, number 391. For some of us, the Rabbi Jesus, a human exemplar of goodness and right action, is a source of healing and renewal. In the text known as the Beatitudes, Rabbi Jesus blesses the least likely and most wounded. Recorded as number 640, he calls us to shine regardless of our wounds. You are the light of the world. When a lamp is lit, it is not put under a bushel, but on a lampstand, where it gives light to everyone in the house. Let this be a healing balm, a source of strength and solace to those who shine, no matter that they are poor, hungry, mournful, or humble. For some of us, reciprocal acts of giving and receiving are a source of healing and renewal, creating the bonds of affiliation and affinity which become the very stuff of living. May we mutually participate in honoring the exchange of gifts and love by singing together number 402, also in the Great Hymnal. Let's sing it twice. Let this be a healing balm for whom the acts of mutual regard are the sources of strength and solace. It's unlikely that all of these words and ways are sources of healing and solace for any one of you. But all of these words and ways are sources of healing and solace for someone. Someone here in this community. Someone in our households. Someone where we work or shop or walk or play. Can you locate? Can you define? Can you feel the sources that feed your spirit when life is hard and ugly as it so often can be? Can you find the solace, the source of love and light, that source that fills your busy doing life with meaning and purpose, the source that fills the mundane and the difficult with grace and import? Can you find the source that lights your fire of commitment, that sets your soul ablaze, so that you remain strong, so that you feel healed, so that you can go on in a life inevitably challenging but beautiful all the same, worth living and worth living with delight and in community? What is your source of healing and solace, giving you strength in times of trouble? I invite you to share it with your friends here, with your family, with all the people in your life. I invite you to share it with me. I would love to know. And I invite you to listen with curiosity and compassion, with interest and love, as your friends here, your family, all the people in your life share with you the sources of healing and solace for them. We need not call on the same sources in order to honor the need for healing and for solace within each of us. Friends, we are here in this life together, in this work of love and justice together. There is no way to make changes in the world without working together, and there's no reason to get tired, no reason to give up, because we can continue to embrace the good things and fight the illusions and the despair by calling on those sources. Humanistic thinker Yolo Akili reminds us, calls us to remember, oppression thrives off isolation. Connection is the only thing that can save us. Remember, oppression thrives on superficiality. Honesty about our struggles is the key to our liberation. Remember, our stories can help save someone's life. Our silence contributes to someone's struggle. Speak so we all can be free. Love so we all can be liberated. The moment is now. We need you. I encourage you to draw on your sources of healing and solace, to give to gain strength from them, to invite others to do the same, to keep exploring the many paths toward the healing of our spirits. I encourage you to this beautiful effort so that our web of connection is one of mutuality and not oppression, so that our relationships are healthy and loving instead of destructive and violent, so that we can continue to strongly and devotedly tremble the web for the good of us all. As we draw near to the end of our time together today, hold in your thoughts and heart these words of Reverend John W. Brigham. Go your way, knowing not the answer to all things, but seeking always the answer to one more thing than you know. Let us promise each other to seek more answers, more understanding, more compassion today and every day, as you remember that you are loved, you are worthy, you are welcome, and you are needed. May you feel it so.
Songbooks down and take someone's hand. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth,
or the fire of community.
the fire of commitment.
Oh, yes.
Carry our hearts until we are together again. Go with commitment.
Think of the fire.
Join us for worship every Sunday at 10 a.m. at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua, a welcoming congregation. We are located at 3024 Cooley Road, 4 miles west of South Main Street, Canandaigua, just north of the intersection with Routes 5 and 20. Look for the blue signs just before the turn. Your comments about this program or questions about the church are welcome at 585-396-1370 or at our website, www.canandaiguauu.org. Producer and editor, Daniel Brigham.